Yo, good morning, Adam, man. How are you feeling today? Did you ape into the Dark Farms pre-sale that is up 100x in 24 hours?
Bro, I fade everything, bro. Everything. I am so infinitely stupid. It's literally, dude, he's on my timeline all the time. I interact with him all the time. He's a great dude. And I was like, shoot. I mean, I was watching it, and within 20 minutes of it being launched, it had, I don't know, 50,000 or 100,000. I was like, whoa, this is going to get crazy. He raised I don't know, nearly $2 million. And I was like, $2 million? Again, my stupid, dumb, infinitely stupid brain was like, oh, 2 million there. This is crazy. What's my $1,000 going to be, or $2,000 I'm going to put into this going to be? So stupid, dude. So stupid. There were smart people in there who put in 50, 60 grand or whatever. I was like, dude, they just won huge. I think it's at 100 million market, or no, yeah, 100 million market cap right now. What is it at right now?
Yeah, just so we're pulling it up right now on the live stream. It's at a $92 million market cap. Again, this just launched yesterday. I didn't know about this until this morning, so I'm really trying to figure out what the hell this even is.
So basically what it was he basically created a SOL address, right? And you just sent money in there, right? Sent SOL in, and whatever percentage, your SOL that you sent in was, you got that distribution of tokens. But there was something after, I'll find the tweet from him, where he's like, well, how much do you want me to put into the liquidity pool? And how much, if you scroll down, you'll see there's a poll he did, how much you want me to put in the liquidity pool? How much do you want me to reward, token holders? So should I put just 10% in the liquidity pool, or should I put 50% in the liquidity pool, or whatever? I think he ended up, I believe, putting 50% into the liquidity pool, because that liquidity pool is pretty stacked. It looks like, yeah, that was the answer right there, where Beanie is number 2. Oh, it turns out, no, he actually scrolled down a little bit. There's the actual, the poll. So it looks like they chose actually number 3, which was just 10% in the liquidity pool, and everybody gets 90% of the.
It says, or we do an allocation as is and use the other 50% for LP. So yeah, so 50%. I'm trying to figure out, so going through this timeline, again, I'm happy for Dark Farms. I own some Mirages and also some Smoles. So, we've been following him for a while.
Yep.
I just I first time I'm hearing about this morning. So I'm trying, Book of Memes. I mean, he's probably the de facto one-of-one counterparty artist leader. I don't know anybody else who really competes with him. I had actually asked him multiple times to come on to the show, but he doesn't want to because of he's not a native English speaker, from my understanding, or just not very fluent in English. But Book of Memes, I know there's Book of Stamps, so I don't know if this is something that's similar. I'm gonna have to look through and see what it is. But from what I'm seeing, so he did something similar to what Polly had done, where it's basically just send. Oh, here it is. So 24-hour pre-sale starts now. Send SOL here. No exact price. Book of Meme will be allocated. But what is it just so Book of Memes updated, new meme clip arts and new memes. The link is in the metadata. Send some micro funds. So, I mean, if it's just a meme coin that's called Book of Memes, cool. But from what the posts are seeing between what Beanie has said here in the timeline, where he says something about that it's a new mint method or something like that. I saw it on his timeline somewhere. Do you have any information of what it specifically is?
Not any more than kind of you just went over right there. I mean, I think he's going to reward people regardless. That just seems to be the way he works. But this just looked like a very simple kind of pre-sale meme token, right? From a trusted, artist in the space. I mean, that's just what it kind of vibed as. And obviously some, a lot of us, follow and enjoy his stuff. And yeah, I think he's getting a ton of traction on the timeline just because people want to support him. You get this bag holder kind of coalesce, which is like you have Smalls, I have a Small, whatever. We all kind of hold his artwork and stuff. And he gave, kind of the people who follow him this kind of, heads up early access. I mean, this is pretty cool because this is like pre-sale, but to be in on the pre-sale, you have to kind of know what's going on, right? You have to kind of know him or be involved in him. You had to see the tweet and then trust that he's going to follow through. And obviously he did. And yeah, I think it's the #1 trending meme coin right now. We'll see where it goes. I mean, people were already saying, Beanie was saying, and I saw Farouk was interacting too. Farouk put like, I don't know, 10 soul or 100 soul in, or, he'd already cashed some chips out. Beanie was saying to take profits. Obviously, you're already up 20, 30x on what you put in. So, just kind of a home run already for people. It's really interesting. This is like, I haven't seen too many kind of artists doing these one-of-one meme tokens. I mean, I actually, full transparency, I bought some maybe an hour or so ago before I took my kid to school. I was like, I can't, I've already faded this, right? But I can't fade it at like 60 million market cap just because I think 60 million is a lot, because we all know these things can run to 1 billion like in no time, right? And I couldn't look myself in the mirror. So I put like $1,000 in, I was just like, I can't look myself in the mirror.
You just the FOMO is feeding in.
I can't watch another thing run to $1 million and not have it taking part, especially with somebody who I love, the artwork and stuff. I literally use the memes virtually on a daily basis in my reply game. And, and it's just, you think about it and you say, well, who's going to craft more memes, right? The whole thing is about memes. And dude, this is the dude who makes the memes, I mean, let's be serious. This is going to be the global currency, So I couldn't fade it. I had to put a little bit in,
Damn, I know Adam's bullish when he goes on a shill fest for 5 minutes straight on something. The fact that this, just looking at it now, so it's up 5 million in market cap since we started this conversation to 95 million. 18 million in liquidity is quite wild for something that's literally, the 5-minute chart is literally half of the chart right now. Like, it's been alive for less than 24 hours. I got to ask Chris, though, our favorite, in-house soul connoisseur, do you know anything about this? And in comparative to all the other meme coins, like, how much velocity does this have compared to the other soul meme coins that have been just taking over the timeline?
Yo, good morning, man. So I saw some of the smalls posting it last night at like 20 million. I was like, dang, 20 million is actually pretty high right off the bat. So didn't really, the funny thing is you can't tell what's legit and what is just kind of like a one-off or anything like that. So I didn't know any details on it. But 18 million liquidity in 24 hours is actually super nuts. There's not a ton of liquidity like that on any of these random coins. So that's definitely pretty huge. I mean, 95 FDV. I don't know what you can do with that. I mean, if you plan on holding it to 2 billion or 5 billion or something like that, which I'm not going to say is out of the realm of possibilities, but definitely a ton of people got in pretty early, obviously, with a pre-sale. So something to look out for. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing to see. Didn't give it too big of a glance because, man, I mean, it was out of character for some of the smalls to just be posting it directly on the timeline. Like, hey, check this out. But I mean, it's meme coin season, so you can kind of do whatever you want, I guess. But it's difficult to tell the quality of the token just from the ticker. You have Joe Biden and Donald Trump and all these things that are just complete madness. So a little bit crazy, but it's cool to see. I mean, I saw Adam posting the Google Trends of Google
meme coins. Yeah,
meme coins.
Searches for meme
and
coins.
I definitely think that I mean, things are starting to get pretty heated.
Yeah.
Probably getting into the season of overheated. Everybody is trying to hit on meme coins, so it's probably a little bit closer to time to look at maybe NFTs or something. Try and find what the next trend is.
Tell me about what it actually means. So the liquidity pool and how much is in there. So in this sort of case, right, he took in Sol, but then released the token. Is he just taking literally just a percentage of that token against Sol? So he's putting in part token, part Sol into this liquidity pool. How does that work exactly?
Yep, him and other people are adding the liquidity to the pool, and then they'll be earning fees based on the trading volume. So 18 million is super deep liquidity. If we go to this deck screener, like in the last 7 days, I mean, it has the most liquid out of any meme coin that was launched in the last 7 days, any coin that was launched. The next deepest liquidity is Nick, which has 1 million in liquidity.
Wow.
So Book of Meme has 18.3 currently. First, the number 2, which is Choose Rich, has 1 million. So pretty incredible liquidity. It can obviously change pretty quick, but yeah, there's serious cash that's involved with it. There's no question about it. Nick is at 35 million FDV with 1 million in liquidity. So pretty big difference there. But interesting stuff for sure. I mean, everybody's on Solana. Everybody's shooting for meme coins. It's definitely getting to that point where things are starting to look cheap. I see people flooring things all over the place to try and chase, some of these pumps. And that's kind of definitely indicative of it's time to kind of start looking somewhere else. These things can kind of drag on for a little while, but it's definitely getting overheated.
Yeah. So, dude, the replies right here in the live stream, I think everyone is really here for the Inscription Show. We got a post for MF PERS, so Inscription. Somebody says D-Bits on ARC20 for Atomicals, D-Bit on DRC20. Somebody says I'm here for Bell's Coin. So I think some people want some market talk. So I have actually kind of a lot that I want to share here. But first and foremost, I got to show, I guess, what's on topic of Emblem's meme coin, Koval, #1 trending coin in the entire industry last week. Look at this on CoinMarketCap. For those that haven't been following, so Koval, there was a wallet who came in and had bought 7.5% of the supply of Koval on Coinbase, and that ensued and led to $100 million in trading volume in Koval in one day, which then therefore led to the addition of Koval USDT trading on Bybit, which is one of the largest perps trading platforms in the entire industry. And then there was one called Blowfin and another DEX called Pletha, I think, or Plena.
What does perps mean?
So perpetual trading is for leverage degens. So perps is just leverage trading. Yeah. So you're not buying the underlying asset. You're basically taking a loan out and then going long or short on it. There was a few people in the Koval section of the Emblem Discord were like, what's perps trading? And I was like, no wonder why everyone always yells at me. They don't know what trading. We don't know what trading is. This is kind of how I started crypto trading, honestly, in 2017 was leverage trading on Forex, leverage trading with crypto. I know Chris was the same way, trading on BitMEX back in the day. This is what most people did on FTX back in the day is leverage trading. So it brings a lot of volume. Obviously, it brings more volatility. There was somebody today asked, what does Koval actually do, right? So like I said, it's kind of our meme coin. I spent the entire weekend updating the Emblem documentation, and it seems like there's some people who have kind of begun to figure out that there's something coming here pretty shortly. In terms of some Koval gamification or utility, also if you go back and look and listen to the Emblem Town Hall, there's also some hints in there that we continually update. I'm not going to leave too much there, but if you do your digging, you'll know that there's going to be some things coming here in the near future. So exciting times, to say the least, if you are a Koval degen or just an Emblem supporter. A lot of exciting things to come here.
So we know that the, what was it, $3 million purchase was from that one exchange, right? So they could buy or have liquidity of Koval. Is that basically the way it's looked at? Like,
doing some research on the wallet who spent about $3 million on 7.5% of the Koval supply. It looked like this person or entity, whoever it is, had also previously bought Koval as far as 580 days ago.
Wow.
So you're saying somebody had bought Koval about, almost 2 years ago. Koval was listed on Coinbase, I think about 2.5 years ago. So you're talking about somebody who's just been interested in it. We don't know if it's just a degen. Is it an exchange who's holding on, right? Is it somebody who's just, my speculation originally is just somebody who's front running the inevitable Coinbase victory against the SEC. My assumption is, right, you have 256, I think it's 256 tokens listed on Coinbase. Once Coinbase wins that victory, I'm assuming probably all the coins are just going to massively pump, because it's that victory basically clears everything on the exchange as a not security, right? Because if it's a victory, right, Coinbase has gone and said, we do not list securities. And if they win, then there's nothing there as a security, right? So you're assuming then that all those tokens then have pretty much the go ahead from the US regulatory perspective. That's just speculation, right?
Yep.
We also believe, Koval is not a security. There was no pre-sale of Koval ever, right? It's free. It's gone through multiple migrations. It's a utility token, and so that's just my speculation. But ultimately, who knows? There was then another wallet which people identified as the Bybit wallet, went and spent $2 million, I believe, on Koval. Right? Obviously, you need to have Koval backing the leverage trading, because when people are taking loans against it. So should be a fun time, right? It'll be a big it's going to be a big and fun experience in the Emblem ecosystem for the rest of the year. A lot of big plans moving forward. So just wanted to give that shout out there. Koval is on the rise. Speaking of memes, man, there's one thing that came to my attention yesterday. I could not be more bullish on the Doginal ecosystem. I came out yesterday. I'm pretty much putting my full attention to Doginals now. I think it's pretty much the largest opportunity. So funny, when I was at ETH Denver, me and Eric, who runs BRC20 Coins, who created OrdiFind, we were sitting there talking with some Ordinal guys, and they were asking us to basically, Doge pill them. And I was like, here, look at it this way. Doge was at 10 cents at the time of this conversation. I was like, so if Doge goes to $1, which I think will probably go over $1, you have a 10x in USD value, which if you've watched Ordinals, Bitcoin's gone from 16K to 75K. So you're saying almost a 5x. You're saying Doginals, right, will go 10x in USD value. And then when Doge runs, these tokens also appreciate, against Doge. So you're saying if we'll use mini Doges, because this was actually a pretty prime example. Mini Doges has gone from 69 Doge. It went up to 7,000 Doge at one point. So you're saying that's 100x. And then Doge has also increased 2x or 3x from the bottom. So you're saying that's a 300x in USD value. But if Doge goes to $1, right, you're saying that's from here would be another 5x. You're saying that's basically, a 1500x in one token. And this is the same conversation we had about Bells, right? Bells is similar in a similar position, because if you believe, Bell and Knowles will increase against Bells, Bells essentially has a larger opportunity to increase in value in terms of the Inscription ecosystem. Because if Bells runs, what was the high of Bells, Adam? Do you remember?
It pumped up to I don't know, maybe $7 or $8 in that first day, when people didn't understand, the tokenomics, when people didn't realize, what the tokenomics were. They were just looking at the market cap. They were like, it's a, $50,000 market cap, I'll buy it at whatever, and it was like, no, bro, it's like there are more tokens being produced, So once people understood, it's dropped back down. I don't know what it is now, maybe 50 cents, 60 cents. It dropped all the way. People were calling for 10 cent. Of course, that never happened, but it did. There were people who picked up the bottom, which I think was like 14 cents was the crazy bottom. Yeah.
Right. And so you're saying here in this set, so if it goes back to $7, that's what, 50x from here or something?
Yeah. So basically, if you think about it, anybody in the audience who's thinking about Bell or buying Bell, think of the total supply at like 60 million, because that's where we get after the next two halvings, which will be like after that, you basically get 1 million more Bell per year to infinity. So that's the kind of supply curve. It's a fast ramp up of like a year, and then it flattens indefinitely. So if you think about 60 million is really the amount. So, at $1, it's a 60 million market cap. And I mean, I am not telling what people to do. Like this could be zero. Like literally we've run into blockchain freeze, and this is it's 2014, 13 tech. So it's clunky, and we're trying to get it better. But so there's big risks there. But even at $1, that's a $60 million market cap, which you just see what's happening here. That's literally nothing. Like $60 million market cap is like a brand new token released this morning on Solana. 60 million is nothing. So I think like there's a lot of potential that we have. Some of these shit coins are certainly deca billion-dollar market caps, and it could definitely there could be something at $100 billion this cycle. It seems like that's a possibility.
If Doge goes to $1, I believe the market cap would be around 200 billion.
Yeah.
It's at 20 cents now. So you go 5x, I'd be about 150 billion or around there. But if that's just the market cap of Ethereum right now. And again, this is all speculation, but just to put in perspective of Bells, right? So if Bells reaches its all-time high, you're saying it's about a 50x from here in USD value.
Yep.
And then Bell and Knowles hasn't had anywhere to trade, right? Yeah. Because of its clunkiness, although there is Doge. We'll get into kind of the technicals of Bells in a little bit. But even so, if it goes 50x and then you have a Bells or a Bell and Knoll go 100x against Bells, right? You're basically talking about 5,000x, right? Yeah. So that's just, speculation, moon math. The difference here between, Doge Knowles and Bell and Knowles and Ordinals and Litecoin Ordinals is that it has basically a whole ecosystem on top of it, which does not happen with like Book of Memes and some of these other ones, right? So they're just multiplying against Sol, whereas with these inscription ecosystems, you have them appreciating against their underlying currency, which is then appreciating against the USD value. So that's what I find most interesting here. I pulled up here if you don't know who Andrew Kang is, he's a big he's a big personality. He's I think he created Pleaser DAO. He also has his own kind of capital fund. He's been ramping up the Doge propaganda, the Doge interest. He said he's interested in launching the micro strategy of Dogecoin. There needs to be a vehicle in public equity markets for memes. If you have the passion for memes, corporate finance experience, like Sailor Crackhead Energy, please reach out. And you go in, and it looks like he's actually quite serious about this. This comes after the tweet yesterday where Elon Musk said that he wants to add Tesla payments in Doge, right? So he said he was going to add, although I did hear that post is actually like older from sometime like in the last few months. But still, my speculation's always been that it's inevitable that he's going to add Doge, like you can buy Doge on X, on Twitter. I mean, he's made it very clear and very public that he wants he wants to be able to buy financial assets on X. They've already announced a partnership with Robinhood. Doge is on Robinhood, right? So to me, it just seems inevitable. People are going to shitpost and buy Doge till it goes way past $1. But again, that's speculation and some moon math. Chris, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this point in the market. I'm happy that we're having this show today. Real quick, we did have 2 massive shows, one with Leo, one with Book of Stamps this week. Super great, epic shows. Definitely give those a listen. Was massive all around. Definitely throw some love on this show. Give a retweet, give a like. We're gonna have some good conversation here. But I'm pretty excited about these UTXO chains and the infrastructure that's being built in them for the first time ever. And so we always talk about all of this dormant capital that's been sitting there for years, and it's really beginning to take off. And I think that, we've been consistently looking for the newest trend. Like, we had NFTs before, and we were on the fence if it was going to be inscriptions and everything like that. And I think day after day, it's continuing to prove that it is going to be inscriptions. And I think Bitcoin is going to continue to take the show, like we predicted early on. And I think these UTXO chains are really going to continue taking off. So I think that that's where the focus is going to shift. I'm going to begin shifting a lot of my focus over there as well. And I think that the infrastructure that has been being built for the last couple of months is really finally getting to kind of parity with the interest that's been shown. And I think that it's just about time for some of these to really kind of start going crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of my question is how much is needed from an infrastructure perspective, like with Solana, right? I'm using whatever, Phantom Wallet or whatever. It's pretty seamless. It's pretty easy, right? But is that, and you can use it on your phone. Is that gonna, happen in, for Doji and Doji Market and stuff? Is it? And I know, like, I think Jake, you might have tweeted it out, like the mobile app's coming this week or whatever. But is it going to be that kind of, because people really do, to get that liquidity, you really do need, at this point, I think, that seamless experience. What's your guys' thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'll let Chris take that.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite hyped that Chris is entering the market. Chris, me and him go back a while, and he's been investing for a long time and is really good at identifying trends. So, Chris, yeah, I'm curious what Adam said, and then also what was kind of the identifier of saying, hey, let's start focusing on inscriptions and start deploying more capital there.
Yeah, I think that, so first of all, just for some major compounding here, you don't need the level that is of users that is happening on Solana. That is like overboard. Like I said, there's signs of serious exhaustion everywhere. Phantom is consistently beating Coinbase in downloads. Everybody that I know is texting me about meme coins, or I can see them jumping in on Phantom Wallet, and they've never had a Phantom Wallet before. These are like signs of a mania, and to kind of, early signs to begin looking elsewhere, because things are starting to get overheated. As for the infrastructure that's needed, I mean, we've been following Doginals from the beginning. They barely had a working marketplace. They barely had, any wallet access. And the community has always been fun and loving and really accepting of so many different new users. And the vibes have just continued. And so not only is the ecosystem maturing in an infrastructure standpoint, the community is still having fun and, being wholesome and really accepting to growth. And some of the projects have been taking off in a big way. So there's a ton of staying power is what that tells me. What was it that kind of really tipped my hat and made me kind of begin, taking an even closer look, is just the general maturity of the ecosystem and kind of the over-exhaustion of what's happening on Solana. These meme coins, they can't run forever. There is a top somewhere. And when you have everybody looking for the next 100x, but all of the quality meme coins have already kind of taken off in such a big way, capital is going to kind of dissipate and flow to other things. And so I think that inscriptions are just the obvious next play. I mean, we've been hosting this Inscription Show for weeks now. We've been following the industry super close. I think Bitcoin is really going to continue to steal the show with these ETF flows, and then people are going to be looking for what they can do with their Bitcoin. And then that's going to go down and looking into all these UTXO chains, something like Bell's Coin, something like Doginals. These are the kind of things that I'm going to be looking for in the biggest way possible.
Let's go.
Biggest way possible, bro.
Be more yeah. Before I call on Dogfather here, I wanted to bring up one other post that came today from OKX saying Doginals is next. So Hader, who I believe runs there, I believe he's the OKX CMO. He said the ordinals market is now the inscription market. This upgrade adds trading of the atomical standard, which makes us the ultimate place to create, manage, and trade inscriptions. And then he literally says Doginals trading is next. So I know that's what the community and some people have been trying to front run. We've also seen that Magic Eden has expressed tons of interest as well in terms of adding Doginal support. I talked to Jason Fang from Sora Ventures at Bitcoin Denver, or I'm gonna call it Bitcoin Denver or Denver.
Yeah.
And he expressed serious interest as well in Doginals. And he also said any UTXO inscription ecosystem, same exact thing that Chris is saying as well. He believes that there's going to be a big explosion in UTXO chains, and that he also, one conversation we had was just talking about ETFs, and he said that, because of the SEC's, kind of disregard for crypto and more so calling ETH a security, but UTXO chains are more akin to commodities. There's a likelihood things like Doge, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash was even a mention as well. These ones that have been kind of name brands, again, with all that capital there, it could eventually be the next ones after Ethereum makes it through or alongside Ethereum. And if that happens, right, we've just seen what happened with Bitcoin, right? If we get some boomers aping shit coins or aping meme coins, right, Doge, that is absolutely insane. And you have that kind of backed by, Elon Musk as well, who's just like the biggest, megaphone that exists on the internet right now. I think you can have something, quite profound and just really kind of explode. What's up, Dogfather? What's your take on all of it?
You're muted, man.
Yeah, GM. Yeah, I'm not that quick. I'm typically working and doing something while listening to the spaces. I like this leverage take on meme coins. So there's 1,000 times 100. I like these large numbers. So I will resign with my 1.8 trillion nuke bag. Just writing the letter to my boss today. So that's it. I'm going full-time Web3 now. So with all the nuke. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I heard some rumors about tap on Doge and also have runes on Doge. I mean, so lots of building over there. That's really interesting to see. I mean, I'm like a Doge fan, so really looking forward to how the ecosystem there is expanding. I think this is like the biggest brand besides Bitcoin on the retail side. This is like a no-brainer to build there. So yeah, just heard very good things. I don't know. I mean, you guys are even way more connected. What's your take on tap on Doge, for example?
So I actually am in a chat with the track team about Doginals specifically. It's been probably about a month since we've interacted on it, but they're very serious also about Doge. I don't want to give away anything that they're building, but from last conversations I had with them, they were getting ready to direct a lot of support there. They just had to set up their own internal, set up their team after they raised, what was it, $13 or $4 million or something like that. So they have actually a Doge dedicated team. I forget what the guy's account is, but there's a Doginal specific person on the track team. I think this will be very good for Doge Map. I did see someone tried to do tap on Doge. I don't know if it was successful. To be completely honest, all of these, all these meta protocol attempts on Dogecoin so far have largely been unsuccessful. You had a lot of hype around DIPE, which was pipe on Dogecoin. I think that had the most hype, is largely kind of spun out. Looks like the guy who was behind it kind of made like 400 grand and just kind of walked off, and now is doing other things. There was somebody who tried to do CBRC that largely failed. Dunes had popped up, one of my buddies messaged me and tried to etch a lot of dunes, and it like blew up his computer. So now he has to get it. Now he has to get a new computer because
really, how did that?
How
does that? Well, you had to mine it or something, and it fried his.
It fried his computer. Yeah, wow. Like his gaming computers. Like he said, it was a $4,000 computer.
Ouch.
Yeah, and then there was a message somebody tried to do tap. It also looked like it didn't really have any success. I think a lot of these issues tend to be the indexing thing, where a lot of people come in and they say like, oh, this is going to be easy. I could build an indexer. And then turns out it takes 2 months to build an indexer for it. Specifically, I think this is what the importance of track is for. Also, Hub is another one. I have it pulled up here. They are also building their own indexer. And also WIWW, which was the wallet I'd posted about today, is also building their own indexer as well. So there's a lot of attempts at fixing this. And from the rumor mill that I hear, the reason why OKX and these marketplaces haven't begun adding DRC20 support is that OKX is working with Doge Labs in building an indexer, and it's been a big struggle. The reasons why, I don't really know, to be honest. Maybe if anyone's on stage has any insight, just raise your hand and answer that. But from what I hear, it's been a big struggle for everything. I mean, even on Doggy Market, right? Doge Maps has fallen to $5 or 5 Doge. It was at like 30, but you can't even buy the shit on here. It like doesn't work.
Oh wow! Why doesn't it work? What's up with that?
I've tried to buy it multiple times, and it says a transaction goes through, and then it doesn't go through. So the floor just keeps falling apart because of that. So there's a bunch of indexing issues. I think it comes down to like there's just like a ton of reorgs that happen on Dogecoin, which obviously causes indexer issues. So it's kind of interesting to follow that. But once I get past it, and I mean, they're all working together, I think this is where everything really booms. I mean, if you look at the top DRC20 tokens, DBIT is by far taking the lead in terms of the number 2, which is now everyone's calling it the Sats. It has almost 6,000 holders. Doji's 30 holders away from 10,000, which if I remember correctly, I think Ordi was around 14,000 or 15,000 holders before its next leg up. WIWW, this is that wallet that's also building an indexer and Hub. The thing I'm noticing here in the Dogecoins market is more utility projects are starting to pop up, which is starting to get a lot more volume, right? This is a WIWW is a wallet. Hub is an indexer. Woofy's a DEX. I don't know what SIBS is. But to me, this is like a sign of maturity in the market is once memes are done running. Memes are kind of like this wealth effect or this like community wealth generation kind of effect, which is what Chris was talking about with meme coins. And then that capital generally tends to flow to more stable kind of projects, right? If you buy infrastructure, your belief is that this is going to be around for a long time, and it's a little bit more of a conservative bet that it's going to be stable and less volatile. So I think there's a lot of healthy signs here, to say the least. And once you get this on OKX and Magic Eden and some of these other ones, and people start building leverage products on top of it, I think you're going to see a very profound kind of, effect on the market. So it's exciting. I think one of the big projects to follow next, let me see if I could pull it up here. It's actually coming from Woofy Swap. It's called Lykia, which is a Dogecoin layer 2, which I think is kind of interesting to say the least.
Tell me now, bro.
Right? A Doge layer 2. So to buy this, you have to own some Woofy because it's coming through their launchpad. The rumor is that they're supposed to have their white paper released this week. And I think, to my knowledge, this will be maybe the second Dogecoin sidechain, I guess. I mean, you say L2, but it's more of a sidechain than anything. If you're just following kind of Bitcoin terminology, where they say there's no true L2 that exists in the current model, right? Dogecoin would be exactly the same because it doesn't even have SegWit or Taproot. So this would be more of a sidechain. I think Dogechain was the first sidechain. That was an EVM one that popped up a few years ago. I'm interested to see what this kind of brings in store. But we'll go to Chris, and then I think Dogfather has his hand up right after.
Yeah, definitely. Just want to throw it, if you want to join the conversation, feel free to come up and let's chat about it. Another thing is finding a lot of these trades, they continue to just be the same playbook over and over again. So the Solana trade that we've been in for a while was just, the user experience is really, really good. It's offering speed and cheaper transaction costs than the Ethereum trade. But all of this infrastructure is being built out. It has an organic community, and a lot of these protocols don't have any tokens and things like that. So now you see the leader Bitcoin offering all of this new infrastructure and this new playbook, and then you see Dogenals following super closely behind, kind of mirroring every single thing that it's doing. So are they going to be able to find a way to launch tokens for their protocols and reward past usage, similar to what Leonidas is doing with Runestone, things of that nature? Are people going to kind of bookmark those Runestones once they're launched and then continue rewarding those earliest users over and over again? That's definitely a big possibility. And so a lot of these trades are just, running the same playbook over and over and identifying that leader and getting in early on, the ecosystems that are trailing it with true organic communities. That's where I've had some of my biggest wins throughout the years. And Dogenals is looking fantastic. I think Bellinels has an insane value proposition. And I think that it's going to be a fun year. I think that this is going to be the year of kind of the UTXO chains. I think the UTXO model is going to be back in favor. I think so many people are overweight Ethereum, and markets always have to have a way to kind of prove that there's no free trade, and everybody thought that Ethereum was a free trade, and so now they have to kind of find ways to get exposure to other ecosystems. I think Dogenals and a few other UTXOs are pretty obvious.
Before we pop over to Dogfather, I posted up top our chat with Leo yesterday. You guys should definitely listen to that to hear what's going on with Runestone. I think, like Chris just mentioned, it's like me fading, whatever happened today with Dark Farms. It has the vibe that, Runestones is going to have. It's that very similar early opportunity. That's my feeling on it right now. I'll still fade it, but that's so that's probably the indicator to get into it. Go for it, Dogfather.
Yeah, just wanted to go back to the Doge coin, use in indexing. I mean, the whole network is undergoing maintenance at the moment till March 20. So everything is a bit more difficult. Even if you're having a node, a friend of mine wanted to mint something and it didn't went through. So it's quite complicated. I mean, everything is quite complicated at the moment. I don't know exactly what they're doing in terms of maintenance, but it just means that probably right now everything is difficult there, and end of March it will be better. So I mean, no financial advice, but that's just like happening, and hopefully they will get it resolved pretty soon.
Yeah. I do want to note as well, kind of on the Doge, just the Doge ID or the Doge realm, we did get our Doge Party collection finally working, the curated collection, so you can now vault Doge Party assets to Ethereum. This was a lot of work. A lot of people ask, why some of these things take so long. Is that there's one, right? The way that Emblem works is we have to pair with an API. There's literally one Doge Party API that exists, and so sometimes these things break and it takes a little bit to figure out. But ultimately here, for those that are listening, the reason why this is very important is that, we'll be deploying on Bitcoin in Q2 as ordinals, and then our next goal is Solana, probably in Q3. This means that you can then take, once the collection is added into the Emblem ecosystem, you'll be able to move across these chains with literally one click of one button. So, people are, as Chris said, right, people are overweight Ethereum. Ethereum has all these fucking issues right now. It's expensive. But now that it's in the ecosystem, you'll be able to take your Doge Party assets to Bitcoin, to Solana, to all these Ethereum L2s that are now essentially free because of this, the Ethereum Deacon upgrade. So it's just like one step forward towards this like multi-chain future. And this is where Koval and some other plans that we have will kind of pair it all together pretty nicely. So exciting times there. Also, in terms of Doge Party and Counterparty, Pepes have been picking up in volume. I think we saw our largest rare Pepe week in volume since last fall, so maybe 5 or 6 months. I'm unsure if it's what the reason is. My guess is that now that royalties are zero, right, you're basically just paying the marketplace fee. So people are just paying 2.5% on on this FD card sale. That's 22 ETH. We had 2 FD card sales today, which was the first asset of Spells of Genesis, which is known as the first official, or the first, I guess, collection in NFT history. That was like an intentional collection. So both of these sold for 22 ETH, around $85,000 to $88,000 for both of these. Congrats to Zero G. I know was one of those buyers. I'm unsure who the buyer was of this morning, as of about 3 hours ago.
I just actually sent him congrats. On the second sale. Not really a well-known person as far as we go, but big congrats to him.
So counterparty assets are beginning to pick up here. One important note here is once Emblem Markets is live, it will have cheaper fees than any other marketplace that exists. We will release that info in our next town hall in terms of what the mechanics are of Emblem Markets. For those who don't know, Emblem Vault, we are launching our own marketplace that will support all curated collections, only curated collections. And we will be offering different incentives and different types of rewards that will encourage our community to use Emblem Markets over the other marketplaces, so that we can be competitive there. So that will be exciting to see a lot of this happen. We're building towards it. Emblem Markets is getting pretty close. I'd say it's probably about 85% done. We have Swapna, who's Emblem's second developer. She was a senior engineer at Coinbase for 5 years. She worked directly with Brian Armstrong, and she has a lot of experience in terms of exchanges. And so she's provided she's working on the back end currently for Emblem Markets. So we're very lucky to have a very experienced developer from Coinbase to help us build Emblem Markets. So that'll be exciting times. But Counterparty's picking back up. I believe we might have a space with Adam, who's one of the original co-founders of Counterparty. Is that planned for next week, Adam?
Yep, it's coming Tuesday.
So next week we'll have Adam, the co-founder. We'll have Adam and Adam both on the show talking about the updates at Counterparty. They've been doing a lot of developments there and making a lot of strides. And I believe he has something very special to share there. So we will see what happens. The Counterparty, follow Rare Pepe, man. There's a lot of big sales, and it's a very, very exciting time. Moving on, something that's a little bit lesser known, Litecoin Ordinals has actually made a significant amount of strides over the last 2 weeks. First, Lite trading is back in order. So if those that don't know, Lite is currently sitting at a $2.6 million market cap. It has 5,000 holders. So Lite was the first LTC, they call it LTC20 on Litecoin. It was the first deployed, and the Litecoin Ordinals was actually the second ordinal ecosystem to exist. They fixed the indexer issue. It's a long story. It's actually a very similar situation what Doginals went through over last summer. Basically, you had a rogue developer build their own indexing system and then basically take a snapshot because they made a mistake of allowing transfer inscriptions of Lite to be traded as actual valid inscriptions. And so then that marketplace, I think it was called Unilit, rugged, and it basically locked up a significant amount of Lite for about 6 months and really, really just cratered the entire ordinal ecosystem. Because if there's anything we've learned from inscription markets is that first inscription is very important because that's how the community generates wealth, which then trickles down to everything else. And so because of that, Litecoin Ordinals became very stagnant. So that indexer, and I think I see Luke in the crowd as well, that indexer was fixed and implemented. And so now the trading has picked up on Gate. That's where you can basically buy spot and trade there. Or you could go to, it looks like the leading marketplace now is called Chicken Market, which is a fork of Doggy Market, but they're not associated. I actually had to ask to clarify. But Light has volume has picked back up, and it looks like it's actually brought a little bit of life back into the ordinal ecosystem, or Litecoin ordinal ecosystem, with 45 buys in the last 24 hours.
They've actually,
also,
I've been noticing the punks have been trading. People have been posting them on the timelines, and I have no idea. They could be wash trades. I have no idea how that, if they are or not. I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Maybe I did buy some Light. It's of course cratered since then, so it's perfect. It's down like half. I think I bought it at like a 3 million market cap. But this is the kind of one where it's like, okay, this may be a complete zero. Like the Litecoin bag holders may never do anything with this, but certainly in altcoin season, Litecoin could get. I mean, it's a legit, proof of work blockchain. And if you're getting in it, whatever, I don't know what the market cap, it looked like 1.5 million is the market cap.
It's 2.6. You're almost back to break even.
Oh, I'm almost back to break even. That for me, those are the ones that it's like, that seems like it's an out of the money bet, right? This is like, it may not go anywhere, but if it does, it seems like that could, if that goes to 1 billion, hey, you have a real kind of nice return on your hands. Or
yes. So it looks like largest daily sale. So there's 2 punk sale, Litecoin punks, which are both sub 1K inscriptions. Punk 80 sold for 34.5 Litecoin, so it's about 3,200. And then Punk 45 sold for 26.5 Litecoin, which is 2,500.
I can't remember. Is that about what we paid when we minted them? I think it was probably around 1 ETH or something when we minted them.
I think we minted them for it was like 2 Litecoin or 3 Litecoin or something.
Really?
It was, I think, but then
maybe.
there was auctions.
Yeah.
There was
auctions. I think I paid probably about an ETH at the auctions. Yeah.
If I remember correctly, because Emblem Vault was also the first to support Litecoin ordinals. I think the highest sale, I believe, was around like 6 or 7 ETH at the time, which was like almost 10 grand. If I believe was like the highest. Just as a disclaimer, right? I own 1 Litecoin punk. I also inscribed 2 sub 1K collections. One of them on here, a lot of people might not actually know, but shilling my own bags here. Here we ordinal again was actually myself and somebody else inscribed. It was basically 84 of the same image, but it was an image that basically says, oh shit, here we ordinal again, because this was the second ordinal ecosystem to pop up. And so it was just like one of these, like, quick, what do I do? Right? These things are.
Did you inscribe those on every ordinal? Did you go to Doge next? You did. Okay. Cool.
No. This is just on ordinals.
Okay, because it would have been funny to do them across every Solana inscriptions. Doggy inscriptions. That's good.
Yeah. And then my other collection I haven't released yet is actually called the Lizard Lounge. So this is I think these are in like the 700 inscription range. There's only 11 of them. I believe I did give one to Adam.
Love my lizard, bro. It's my favorite. I should change it to my PFP. Dude, that dude drinking coffee is so fucking new, dude. I should change it to my PFP. Once Light hits $1 billion market cap, I'll change it to my PFP.
Let's go. Yeah, this was a fun one to make. So I had somebody help me inscribe these, right? But I made the images and had somebody inscribe them for her. So that was a fun time. I'm gonna wait to release those at a later date, but I think I do have some plans for that when the ecosystem does pick up. So that is exciting. I do want to move over to, we have a few more inscription ecosystems to cover. Bells. I noticed this post the other day. Bells has over 50 million inscriptions. That is insane. I know it is insanely cheap to inscribe, which is cool. I do believe Nook, which is the first, I think it was the first token to be deployed, is over 50% minted out now. And then there's something that's being teased about Bells Coin 3.0. So I'd like to present it to Adam and pass it over. What the hell is Bells Coin 3.0?
So, well, first of all, I think we're almost near 54 million inscriptions now, which is pretty bonkers. And to get into a little bit of what the what Bell's 3.0 is going to do is, first it's going to basically fix the chain. It'll do merge mining, so we won't have this issue right now. Merge mining combined with the difficulty adjustment. Right now, Bell's is still working off its 2013 tech, which is like the difficulty only adjusts like every, I don't know, 200 blocks or something like that, which is not enough, because what we have is we have miners going after these like, you know, big reward blocks and then completely dropping off the chain. So we don't get the difficulty adjustment, you know, quick enough. And so the chain basically comes to a stop where we can have like, it can take an hour for a block to process, right? So 3.0 will, in theory, hopefully fix that issue where we'll be back to 1 minute block times. And we'll just be able to, like, the blockchain will cook. And so we're excited for that. I don't want to give too much away, but we're in discussions with some big mining pools to basically implement the merge mining. We got a dev heading over to a secret location to meet with some big mining projects to kind of work out the technical details. So, you know, nothing's done yet, but if it does happen, which I expect it to, we're gonna have a chain that cooks, man. And who knows? Who knows after that? Maybe it runs to zero, but if we have a chain that's actually working, we got inscriptions cooking, you know, we got Nook, which is going to be a really interesting to see, you know, does its market cap surpass that of Bell? And maybe that becomes like this meme of where it is compared to Bell. And obviously there are a ton of holders of Nook. It's going to be really interesting to see, you know, what happens with those prices and stuff and run ups. And it's going to be fun.
Yeah, so we have it here. I pulled up Ordinal's wallet, although I do believe Ordinal's wallet's like kind of broken, right?
Totally
From what I hear, the Bells one, they've kind of abandoned it a little bit. 52% supply, or it's 52% progress, so it's over half minted out. 52 million transactions to get that done. Like, how insane is that? Here it doesn't show the owners. Is there another marketplace to trade these?
No.
Yeah, or no?
Just Ordinal's wallet. Ordinal's wallet's everything as far as the trading goes. You know, I think once we upgrade to 3.0, Ordinal's wallet will work way better, right? I think they're dealing with the issue of like really, really slow block times, I think is, you know, one of the main things that's holding them back. So once kind of Nook mints out, you know, hopefully we get 3.0 before Nook mints out. And once that happens, then we'll get to kind of be in like this open space where we're going to get to experience what actually is going to happen with Bells. So it'll be fun to see after that.
And we do have Bells. The numbers are up. The traits are still not up because we still have to mint them. I know people keep yelling at me or yelling at us that we need them up. But the inscription number is there. We're still working on it. Gas fees have just shot up so insane. It's impossible to mint the rest of these. But they're trading. What's the value of these? They're at $10 now. So they're like, I guess they're 50% under what the vault price was. But I'll be interested to see these. We do have plans for these. So as we expand. So I did want to note our favorite Bells collection with the collab with Viva Lavandle. I don't know if you guys have saw recently, but Stamps is actually going crazy. Quite crazy. Stamp is up to $123 million market cap. Kevin is up to 18. UTXO is up to 13. They've been added recently to multiple exchanges. AscendX has added a bunch of SRC20s. KuCoin has added a bunch of SRC20s. And the project that I'm an advisor on, SRC Pad, is also just ripping and going crazy. They've added quite a strategic round of advisors. Maddie, they just announced today, DCL blogger, Tyler Durden, which is also just another OG as well. You can see the SRC pad sold out in 10 minutes. Yeah. And from just like a little alpha that for you guys here, what are the projects that are going to come through the SRC pad? So far, they said they've had 5 or 6 submissions, and there's 2 that are certain. We're really vetting these projects to come through. It's not just going to be, your typical games. It's going to be things that the Stamps ecosystem needs to exist for it to be successful. So I would pay attention to these if you're in the market for SRC20 projects. I would highly pay attention to this because it is created by the stamp chain developers. It's literally the people who created stamps and created the indexers, and Universal, who created and runs Rare Stamp, who is also the people who created the indexer, right? So like, this is when they asked me this to join the advisor team, I was like, there literally can't be a better team. It's literally the Stamp guys are the people who are doing this. And they own the entire infrastructure, or they have, but it's open source. So something to follow as the ecosystem progresses. And it does look like it is making a lot of progress here. There was also a recent upgrade, which probably they'll talk about for Counterparty. I think it was called like the Olga upgrade, where it's like to mint a stamp now is about 50% cheaper.
But even less, it's like a fifth. It's like a fifth.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude.
And the amount you can put in is massive. It's like, I don't know, 10x bigger. Yeah. Yep.
I just remember when we inscribed, just as a disclaimer, I think Adam and I minted a bunch or stamped a bunch that were like sub 200. It was like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, it was literally like $150 each.
It was quite painful.
Jake's got his blurry stamps collection, legendary blurry stamps, baby. Because Adam didn't know how to work it yet, or whatever. It was like I couldn't figure out how to download and blurry images into the blockchain, man. It's good stuff.
I got like, I think there's like 7 of those. One of those on accident. I thought it was a 1 of 1. Apparently, it's like 1 of like a quadrillion or something.
Oh, really?
I thought it was 1 of 1. Maybe
you said it. You said it to 1 of a quadrillion.
On DAC, I thought they were all 1 of 1. Then I looked on Stamp Ninja and it said it was 1 of a quadrillion or something. And I was like, this doesn't look right. But
you moved the 0, man. You moved the decimal point. You forget.
We'll see. I do have a tentative agreement to sell some of the sub 1 or I think they're like 130 range through a nice platform. But again, the ecosystem needs to mature a little bit to see. But I'm excited for it. So Stamp's something to pay attention to.
I mean, dude, you got to love, that for all the losses, right? Those feel like those are going to be winners, right? I mean, Stamps is not going anywhere. The narrative is so strong now. Mike's done an incredible job of pushing the narrative where Stamps in every ordinals conversation, Stamps comes up, and now that it can actually compete against ordinals on the price point and stuff like that. I just think it has a lot of legs. Like Stamps is legit. So got to feel good about those early Stamps.
Yeah. So for those that are listening, it seems like OpenStamp is the top place to go if you're trading SRC20. But if you want to trade stamps, which would be the equivalent of like an Inscription, Stamped Ninja appears to be the place where all of that activity is going. Just wanted to clarify that. See, this was Book of Stamp. This is the one that Viva and some people did. This is what I thought, like the Book of Memes that we were talking about earlier, maybe is modeled after, because at the end of the day, it's all Counterparty guys, right? This is where the tokenized memes were born on Counterparty. So, I mean, it makes sense that Dark Farms is just absolutely crushing it with the meme coin, because they are literally the meme guys, right? Also, I think like Skrilla and a lot of the Rare Pepe guys are the ones who created Smolano, which now there's derivatives of like the political meme coins on Solana are also derivatives of the Counterparty guys who created Smolano. So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not surprised by any of it. That's why I was kind of sad that I had missed it. But something to pay attention there. And last but not least, certainly not least, I know there's atomicals, but got to cover Inscriptions. I did get to meet Tom and Michael at Denver and basically sat and talked with them for almost 2 hours about like their vision for Inscriptions. And, it's quite interesting and they're crushing it. I know Tom today is posting about blobscriptions, right? Which is, again, just more experimentation. And the fact that he says it's an experimentation kind of makes me want to ape, because that's generally what seems to go up, is just experiments.
I saw code there and I said, oh, well, that was a good try. Same as you. I like opened the thread and I'm like, oh, new form of inscriptions. He just put them out. How do we do this? And then I saw the code and I was like, oh, well, I guess I missed that one.
Yeah. Adam, I know you're in more contact with them, and you held the space while I was down at ETH Denver. What's your thoughts on everything that's going on over in the Inscription realm?
Well, I just think they've bumped up against a bit of a problem, which is Facet, which is like this technical layer that use inscriptions, took a lot of the momentum when they released the NFTs on Facet. It did take the wind out of the Inscription guys' sails, who are their biggest supporters, right? And you know, they framed it, you know, which is right, which is like, look, we had to do it at some point. You know, we're gonna do it at some point, so let's do it now at the start of this kind of bull run. And then people can begin experimenting on Facet and all the things you can do with Facet, which is, it's going to be basically everything you can do on Ethereum, right? But just at a 10th or a 50th of the cost, right? And so they're in this spot where it's like, what are they going to be? Are they going to be like DeFi, or is it going to be NFTs, or is it going to be shitcoins? What's it going to be on Facet? And I think, you know, they're at a kind of inflection point here where they're going to have to do a real like attention grab in some way. And I've talked to them about it. I hope to help them. But it's an attention economy, right? And they're up against every L2 in the world. And, you know, they're going to have to get some attention. And that part where they kind of, not by intention, but just, you know, kind of the Inscription guys kind of faded a little bit there, or don't have the same kind of vigor, is a challenge for them, because those are the biggest backers. And so I think they have a little bit of they have a significant challenge here, where they have to kind of grab mind share. And how they go about doing that is, you know, I guess we're going to see over the next couple months, because it's easy to lose mind share, man. And you know that as well as I do. Everybody in the space knows, right? Like whatever Smoles is hot today, you know, and his shitcoin's hot today, and that could change in literally 20 seconds, right? Like Elon could put out a tweet, Doge is now available on X, and literally every other market in the world goes to zero as everybody apes into Dogecoin, right? I mean, it's just, you know, so attention's hard. And so they have a significant challenge right now trying to get that attention back.
One small note, and then I'll call on Johannes, is the main conversation I had with them was around the issue that Doginals was kind of facing, and Belinals is facing as well, is the low transaction suppresses price movements. Because it's so cheap to mint something. Generally, it's easier then to get like initial volatility, but then everyone sells into it immediately because of how fast the transactions are, right? Yep. The thing with like Bitcoin is, yes, the transactions can be, when gas is low, it's right, $1 or $2, but that 10-minute block time really prevents people from just suppressing the price. Whereas if you have fast transactions, right, this happens on Solana too, at times where anytime there's any sort of momentum, it just gets immediately dumped into because it's so fast to offload something. So you need to do, as Adam said, you need to do something that really captures people's attention to get past that momentum, to then create, you know, kind of new forms or copies or derivatives of something, right? That's how you could tell something's generally pumping hard, is something new is created, right? Some new meme coins or ordinals, right? And then after ordinals on Bitcoin is created, then you saw ordinals on Litecoin and ordinals on Inscriptions and ordinals on Bells, and you're like, oh, this isn't going away anywhere. Whereas, you know, internally on one ecosystem, right, the PFP, it's always derivatives start first, right? Then it's PFPs, but what is it now, right? So I think they'll get past it. It's just going to take some time to kind of figure that out. What's up, Johannes?
Hello, friends. So maybe a short introduction. I said I'm that guy who made outpool.space, so that tool that you can use to look on inscriptions and also to look on stems. And I would like to elaborate a little bit about your statement that you said that everything is on counterparty, which is actually not completely true. Maybe we can have, we could concentrate on this for 3 minutes. I promised that it's fast to explain. So they have different ways to store data. So everything which is an image is, of course, stored on counterparty. Everything else would be way too much expensive. But they have also these stems, which is the equivalent of BRC20 tokens, shitcoins on stems, right? And in the very beginning of this project, the SRC20 tokens actually stored their JSON on counterparties. That's correct. But I think in summer, they changed the way how they store their stuff. So everything which came after that block is now produced differently. So they are using a 2 of 3 multisig. One of the 3 keys is proven to be not existing. It's, for example, just 020202. So you can't spend this. And the other both keys are actually storing data. So they are using these available 2 keys. They decrypt it with a well-known algorithm. And then you can store in every of these keys some little bytes. So usually if you want to store a JSON file, you are using several multisig outputs and combine them together. And in the end, you store all the information that you need completely in the multisig of this transaction. So several outputs having several magic keys, and these magic keys are unspendable. In fact, they are stored JSON. So in the end, it's a very expensive way to store data compared to the witness discount we have. So it's amazingly expensive to do it that way, but it's a way to store everything completely on-chain. So right now, if you are deploying a token on stems as a C20, or if you are doing any activity, and if you go to Outpool and look on the JSON, my parser is actually getting all the available information from Bitcoin mainnet. So everything is completely on level 1. It's on mainnet and no counterpart at all. And this is something that I like. I like stuff that is completely on-chain on Bitcoin mainnet.
So let me stop you there. So this is how the SRC20 was able to get off of counterparty, basically, correct?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. And tell can you give us a rundown about how? Can you tell us how Olga stores the data now? How it differs, Olga, from a traditional stamp?
I am not aware of Olga. I'm just somebody who can pass that stuff.
Okay.
So every time, we launched last week some little cooperations. There was a launchpad for SRC20, and they are actually using Outpool to display all their stuff, which is in fact just JSON. And so I made that parser byte by byte by me, hard work. I know exactly every byte in that public multisig.
I have here pulled up. Yeah, so John, as I have here on the live stream, ordpool.space, that's been running while you've been talking, and it's awesome. It's a great visualization. I like how on point and interactive it is as new data is entered into the block space. It's really cool. Good job.
Yeah, glad that you like it. So yeah, I like to explore stuff, and this was something I always wanted to know, how they are doing their JSON, and I can completely confirm it's very expensive to inscribe JSON using just the public keys, because it's really the worst place to store data, because compared to witness, the witness discount that we have for inscriptions, this is at least 4 times, even more time, 5 or 6 times more expensive than writing data using inscriptions, which is also the reason that somebody would say that's a feature, that it's very expensive to create that JSON file. On inscriptions, you are used to lower prices than compared to stems. So everything on steps instead of.
Yep,
But it's
absolutely is. Hey, it's on chain though, right? That's the whole idea. And Mike, the creator of Stamps, is a giant troll, and he loves to troll the maxis. So he will back the more expensive component because it is more pure, I should say. So I appreciate that, man. Also, really good website. One more thing I want to note
one
here.
thing I could add is,
go ahead.
Okay, please.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm in that Stems hidden Telegram Discord with the real Stems developer who are building that new indexer are working daily, hard and night. Day and night very hard on this. So the indexer will come hopefully very soon. And the other thing is they're also doing some really fun stuff. So they really actually did some parsing on these Twitter posts where people inscribe JSON. So I'm not sure how far they really developed this, but they definitely worked on some indexer for all these JSON fake inscriptions that people posted some time ago. So they are absolutely trolling people. So it's funny, but I never heard that they really finished this. So I can completely confirm that they like to troll people, and they definitely wrote something to pass the JSON that people made on Twitter. I think that's funny as hell.
And so I have here pulled up on ordpool.space just so you could visualize it. I actually found an SRC20 in the pool. It's a transfer for SPAD, which we just discussed. So the fee rate was 51 sats per VByte, $13 to transfer 50,000 SPAD. So one transfer. So yeah, a little bit more pricey, but again, great. The visualization of this site is incredible. I highly recommend doing it because you'll be basically you could literally visualize and see these different data, the different types of meta protocols and stuff that are being passed through the block. So really, really good job there. Last thing I wanted to note, I wasn't going to bring up Atomicals, but while we were having this conversation, he tweeted from the official account, "Today is a new beginning." I have no idea what that actually means. Maybe it's related to the AVM, which we had talked about. It looks like they released a new client update. The purpose is to make it easier to mint JSON data or file any type into the NFT to reduce confusion and increase clarity of usage. A little bit above my head technically, but hey, making some strides there. I mean, if anything was true, when we did the Atomical space, people in that community are cultish for sure. People love Arthur. That guy, he's a very smart guy too, to say the least. So I'll be interested to see the AVM once that is populated. I don't even know if there's so many other meta protocols that are popping up. I think the CBRC20 guys are releasing their Moto swap here in the next few weeks. I also got to meet them in person. Adam famously ran them out of this show because of the troll. I actually got to meet that guy. The guy
famous protocol. That was a famous discussion. I completely remember that. So this was a absolutely perfect way to troll a developer, ask for documentation, because we usually don't want to write documentation. And the CBRC20 is so awesome documented. They even helped me to add metadata and meta formats to Oddpool, because this was the use case for adding this. So they reached me, and we added metadata and meta format support to Oddpool, so that the CBRC tokens are displayed. And their website is an awesome resource as a developer. So it was very easy for me to implement the CBRC stuff, because the documentation was so awesome. So I felt the pain of that developer when that space happened.
I got to talk with them and smooth it over. I told them it was a little soft, but I actually told them, because they're gigantic trolls on Twitter, in terms of they just shit on every other protocol, and talking about their superiority. And I told them, I said, it was the same thing I discussed yesterday with the conversation with Leonidas about on Runestone, where remember the person who came on stage yesterday talking about how OCM was the first 10K and that needs to be added, and he's rigorous that we're the first 10K and blah, blah, blah.
Blockchains never lie. I'm like, yeah.
A lot of subjectivity in there. And so I told them the same thing. I said, you guys may have a superior protocol, but if you continually shit on other people on the timeline, no one's going to use it. And I think the social consensus layer in the crypto industry has proven time and time again that you can have inferior technology, but if the community backs it, they'll continually use it. I mean, look at BRC20, right? And so I told them in person, I said, you guys are cool. I like the protocol. That's why we had them on the conversation. But I said, if you continually shit on everybody, no one's going to use it. And to be honest, not many people use it because of it. So I told them to kind of chill a little bit on it. They said they would. I don't know if they will. But they're pretty cool guys. They're young guys who I guess used to be in a band together, turned developers. So kind of interesting background. I see that more and more as a lot of the Omnisat team was also DJing in the music industry and then turned developers. I don't know what that. You think that's what it is? You think it's just like a creative mind?
Yeah, I think creative. Like,
bro, me too.
Yeah,
audio engineer. Now I'm developing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most of what's happening here is creativity, and so usually, like we've seen in early NFT history and stuff, it's artists doing stuff that's creative. And I'd say anybody who's doing playing with code or whatever, it's still creative. And so yeah, creatives are leading the way here. It's not really surprising at all when you look at the history of it. Yep.
Smart. I'm curious, 8-Bit, what caused you to leave audio engineering and move to coding? Was it the creativity of it, or is it something else?
Probably the same thing that got me into audio engineering, just the yearn to learn, man. Like, I saw people that I was a fan of, my peers just like excelling at it, and I saw how much it changed their life. Changed their life. And I just wanted to take a shot myself, and I saw that when you could actually develop with code, you could engineer change in people's lives. And that's what I seek to do. And look what Johannes did. He makes everybody's lives better every single day on Bitcoin because of Orpool. Phenomenal tech, brother.
Yeah, it really is. Cool. That's interesting.
Thank you very much. That's why I do that stuff for free. So it's open source. Everybody could help. So maybe if there are some developers, I still have no support for Atomicals because I'm just a one-man show. So everything free. Please join the one-man army so that we are together and making even more cool stuff. So, but yes, this is exactly why I do that stuff. Everybody likes it. And nobody shits in the space about Outpool because in the end I display everything, so nobody is mad at me except the laser eyes.
That's funny. I don't really have much else to say today, but this was a fun space, dude. I love our Inscription shows that we get to cover all kind of emerging markets here, to say the least. I think it's gonna be an exciting time. As Chris had mentioned. I think this will be the year of the UTXO. Bitcoin is hot, right? ETF inflow, right? UTXOs are commodities. I've even seen, I forget who it was posting. Oh, was it Tyler Durden or somebody was talking about how they want to see more Inscription ecosystems on more UTXO chains pop up, which was something we had talked about last summer, right? People had tried to do inscriptions on Moreno, which largely failed, which was just kind of funny doing that on a private chain.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old UTXO coins that you could do stuff on. I would be interested to see people do stuff on like VeChain. Would be kind of interesting, right? That's a proof of work kind of chain. But some of these UTXO chains have literally billions of dollars just sitting there. Bitcoin Cash, right, is another one. I know Bitcoin SV guys.
Yeah, what about the Bitcoin SV, man? Is that dumping today? It's got to be dumping crazy, right? For anybody who hasn't seen the timeline yet, so Craig Wright, the judge in the case, completely shut it down. Was like, it's clear that Craig is not Satoshi. It's clear that Craig did not write the white paper. So all the Bitcoin SV guys are down terrible today. Terrible. So finally, it feels like
Has
a nice
anybody
end.
checked in on Jack Lou?
Oh, funny. What's up, John? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I was just saying, I wanted to say that one of the first adoptions of ordinals and inscriptions was in fact on Litecoin. So in the beginning of ordinals, Litecoin community was very active, and I was hoping that there could be also some momentum, but right now it cooled down a lot. So there are still people doing some little inscriptions on Litecoin, but this was supposed in the past the second way to do it, and in the end it turned out that there wasn't enough people interested in this. So they are, as far as I know, still on a very older version, and yeah, unfortunately, that experiment didn't age that well. So
it didn't age that well yet, bro. You missed the start of the show. We already covered some Litecoin sales and yeah, Litecoin, Litecoin punks and my foray into LTC 20 and yeah. So we'll see. It certainly didn't take off like we thought it would. Being the second, you would have thought it would have got some real traction. We needed more devs, I think, at the time to make it work.
Yeah,
the dev from the mempool version of for Litecoin. So the mempool space version of Litecoin, the dev contacted me and asked me, should we do that also for Litecoin? And I said, yes, but nobody will look on it. So and he couldn't argue with me. So I felt a little bit guilty after that discussion, because I said, yeah, I would like to do, but tell me the amount of visitors you have. So you can't compare numbers here. So the amount of visitors on Oddpool is way higher than the amount of people looking at all on a mempool explorer for Litecoin. So the activity is way lower.
Way.
Much. So Pensive Shepe says Litecoin, Mimblewimble, LTC 20s. I do think that'll be an interesting crossover if that is capable in the future, doing private fungible token trading on Litecoin, whether it is LTC 20 or Dunes or I guess Runes. What do you call it? Loons, I guess, right? Runes on Litecoin, right? Or if it's Pipe or whatever other these UTXO kind of protocols that come to Litecoin, if you could manage to use Mimblewimble and integrate that together to do private kind of fungible token trading, I think that's a very interesting and powerful narrative. If that could happen, right? That's kind of why we sit here and speculate. So again, fun show, right? Did an hour and a half, covered pretty much everything here. A lot to look forward to. What's next for Bitcoin, right? We didn't cover that. Somebody actually just DM'd me this. What's next for Bitcoin ordinals? I actually, at this point in time, I'm unsure. I haven't seen really anything yet. I think it's been so overheated. A lot of stuff's moving to layer 2s, but a new protocol, it's just Runes, I guess. I guess that's what we sit here and wait for. We'll probably have to dedicate an entire show to Runes multiple times once that pops up here. One takeaway when I was at Denver, Raf said that the Runes team he said the Runes is an entertainment company. I thought that was kind of interesting how he what he meant by that. And,
well, casinos are entertainment, right?
Yeah. What's up, Johannes? Take us home. What you thinking?
Yeah, so I think there's some feature that should be mentioned that nobody's talking about. So there was this broadly compression made available in the Ord client for quite a while now, but ordinals.com had big problems because their cloud provider, Cloudflare, was not able to understand this kind of traffic. And they are now rolling out support for broadly compression. And this is, if you are doing inscriptions, a huge game saver. So it depends on what you're inscribing. But if you have, for example, a JSON which was formerly very large, it goes down so much in size. Also, if you have vector images, if you have the right file, the amount of savings are amazing. If you're, for example, uploading a JPEG, the effect is very small. But if you have the right kind of data, the amount that you can now store on chain is amazing. So this can open up a lot of new possibilities. For example, to go over the usual file size, even if you are not super rich and can buy a full block. So for the average ordinal inscription guy, this can be a game changer. So you can store way more stuff now, way more cheaper if it's the right file. So for example, also if for example, the BSC20 would support compression, that would be very helpful. But for example, a protocol like TBSC, they can adapt this very soon because they don't have Unisat sitting on the brakes. So don't sleep on Broadly. I think that could be leveraging, again, people doing stuff because they right now can't because they are priced out. And if everything supports Broadly, then people will inscribe crazy new stuff. For example, saving a JavaScript file, I did it with and without, or tested it with and without, just 25% of the original file size. This is amazing.
Interesting. Thank you for that note. Yeah, it's what's coming next to Bitcoin. I think everyone's just really loading up on runes and just missing completely everything else that's happening in preparation. I'm seeing a lot of kind of ETH traders mostly just say they just want to ape meme coins on runes, which
Totally.
I'm not really surprised by it, to say the least. I saw Casey had mentioned, right, he's basically creating the first 10, and it seems like they're all going to have a theme. One of them, one of the runes he said is going to be infinite, one of the first 10,
USD.
and he's going to call it the US dollar. Yeah. I think it's kind of interesting, right? Theming some of these runes. He's very aware, right? He's very smart. Bitcoin is basically now Casey's casino. I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of miners are going to lose a lot of money at the halving because you're going to have people attempting to mine the first block so you could get essentially the first runes, but also to get that with the epic sat, right, which is the first sat that's produced after the halving. From what I hear, the estimation of the value of that epic sat is $2 to $3 million.
Wow.
So you can have multiple miners basically dedicating $500,000 to $1 million to get it, and then if you get the first runes on top of that as well, right? It's going to be probably a lot of reorgs that happen there.
Wow.
It's going to be something that I'm not participating in. I'm just going to watch. It's going to be something I watch because I'm going to immediately lose my money if I try to do anything around that. Sure. My transactions are not going to go through.
Everybody's, yeah, totally, man. It's going to
unless you're a very sophisticated person, I would recommend just waiting. I mean, even Leonidas said that when it comes to Runestone, he's like, we're not participating in that.
Yeah.
He's like, it's probably better to wait 2 weeks.
Yep.
And then see what kind of happens there.
Exactly. Yep. They're going to wait a couple of weeks after, then do the drop after that. I think.
Smart. I mean, he knows, right?
Yep.
Just recapping that conversation yesterday with Leo, it's incredible the strides that he's made. As we all, me, Adam, and Leo have been in the same community for the last 3 years, going back to the historical NFT community. So to see his strides, again, one of the people, probably one of the most knowledgeable people in terms of identifying trends in the industry. I mean, he laid it out pretty clear as day, like what the cycle is for dropping new tokens and doing things and identifying kind of stale nature. Not a lot of people can do that, or can kind of explain that to a large audience with a large following in a way that is not confrontational. So cool. Yeah, I'm honestly excited for people to see what comes with Or.io as well. He was mentioned, I think the 28th, they're going to announce something. So make sure you pay attention because I think that's like the 1 year anniversary of Or.io. So make sure you guys pay attention there. And again, amazing show. I love that we do this every Thursday so we can really catch up with everybody. For those who don't know, Adam, myself, and Chris, who's behind the Emblem account, we work at Emblem Vault, the leading cross-chain NFT protocol in the industry with about 100 million in TVV. That is total value vaulted. Make sure you give everyone a follow. We host this show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We do everything covering, ordinals, the Inscription Market Show, guest interviews, etc. Very, very exciting time. We have a lot of stuff coming out from the Emblem Vault side and a lot of conversations that to be had as this market continues to push upwards into the right, hopefully not downwards into the right. But as we know, it's all coming at some point. Then make sure you give everyone a follow on stage. And again, we'll see you guys next Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. We will be featuring Adam, the co-founder, one of the 3 co-founders of Counterparty. He has a lot of exciting news to share. And until then, have a fun time this weekend. Be safe, and we'll see you next week.